So this week we're going to be talking all about socialization. It's one of these topics that is really important for our dogs, no matter what level of socialization is appropriate for them, whether that is just mild introductions or, you know, you've got the life and soul of the party that wants to be the social butterfly and meet everybody, anybody and everybody. Having worked with thousands of people with their dogs, not one of them has, and I've said this so many times, but not one of them can actually tell me what socializing actually is and what's involved for it to go well. They all know it's important, but they don't know what it actually takes to have a good socialization experience when it comes to socializing our dogs. The first thing we're going to talk about today is how social is your dog? Because it's really important when you are socializing your dog. The first thing to acknowledge is what are your own dog's personal social preferences, and they're going to change situation to situation, but they're going to have quite a bit of a baseline, as in, like, if you think of it as like this bell curve, right? All the amount of dogs in the world are in this bell curve somewhere, and at one end of the scale you've got a really, really small amount of dogs, and they're like the hyper aggressive ones. And you'll probably know about that dog, that dog that lunges every time you walk past the house, or you hear about it in your neighborhood. You probably feel like they're really prominent, but they're not. But when you hear about them, their stories are they stay in the mind. They can be pretty bad. So they can, even though they can feel like there's a lot of them, there's actually not that many of them. That's the smallest amount of dogs are really, really hyper reactive and aggressive. On the other end of the scale, so there's more of these than there are the reactive ones and aggressive ones, but they're the hyper social ones. These are the ones that you will see absolutely everywhere. So again, we think there's loads of them out there. These are the dogs that you see at cafes, just minding their own business, tied up outside shops, just minding their own business, playing in dog parks, walking down the street peacefully and calmly and happy to meet other dogs and other people and walking past cats. These are unicorns. They do exist, obviously. We see them all the time. But because we see them all the time, I think there's a bit of a warped reality that this is the norm, when it really isn't. The reason why we see so many of them is because they're easy to take out. Most of the dogs in society fall in the middle. So you've got the really, really smallest amount of hyper aggressive ones, and then more, but still very, very small amount of hyper social ones. But in the big body, the big bell curve, are dog selective and dog tolerant. And most dogs fit in there somewhere, like most people. I think most people are not hypersocial or hyper aggressive. They're kind of like, I like people, but in this context, or I like people when they do this sort of thing. And our dogs are the same. They're going to like other dogs in certain situations and in certain contexts and when they do certain things. So how social is your dog? Where does your dog fit in that social spectrum? Let me know.